Welcome to Keeping Up with Cannabis. Today we're going over dispensaries versus deliveries. Just kind of a general overview. And if you're new to cannabis, we kind of wanted to give a little rundown of what you may want to go towards depending on what product you're looking for and what type of experience you're looking for.
So stay tuned.
All right, see you later.
Dabbing it up, getting high as fuck.
Or a joint.
Or an edible. What? That's two.
Keeping up with Cannabis.
Oh, you
back.
thought we were going to talk about it right now?
We're back.
Stay tuned for the next one.
Thank you for sitting through that 35-minute YouTube ad. We needed that. We need that ad revenue, that 35 cents. Real bad.
If you haven't noticed, we were finally able to pay the bills, and we're back in the studio. So there's a good note, and it's due to long ads like that you guys stay tuned for. We need those impressions.
Yeah, but you know we have a lot of experience with both deliveries and dispensaries. I've been a medical patient since 2008, and obviously transitioned to recreational. I do not continue to update my rec. It's not worth the savings of the 8% tax. Maybe for some people, it annoys the hell out of me.
I am opposite. I do have my cannabis card, my medical card.
Right.
I do have it due to the fact that I like to get more than the eighth or the whatever the amount of concentrates that
Right.
they allow. So when you do have a medical card, it does change up not only the taxes, but the amount that you can purchase.
That's a good point.
On some dispensaries, some deliveries vary. Some are all just blatantly the same, or some just don't plain out care and say you can get this much or that much. Some run a tight ship and say, hey, you can only buy this much. We don't want to be looking like we're just sending out product. But as long as you check and find out how it works for you, the medical card does come in advantage. That's the advantage it comes.
Right. So it takes off. So there's 3 tiers of taxes, if you will, and it takes off generally. I think for most,
it's the local sales tax only.
And most deliveries and dispensaries should take your medical card, and I think there's some that may not, but look into that first. And it also, like he said, there's a cap to how much you can purchase at a dispensary or a delivery, depending on whether it's recreational or medical. And you can buy a lot more at one time. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. That's per dispensary per day.
Oh, yeah.
So in theory, you could buy your max at one, and then there's, so...
No, but before I forget, I'm sorry. That only works... every dispensary and delivery has to give you the tax break no matter what if you have the plastic government issued cannabis card. Like you can go to your local health board, right? Mm-hmm. And you can apply for your cannabis card through them. Mm-hmm. Then they give you a state sealed cannabis card, stating that it comes from your county, basically. You're registered in your own county. So that way when you are purchasing, you don't pay those local taxes, because some will go, hey, he has a medical card, no matter what, we're still giving him the taxes. And some say you only save when you have this card. Because I've been through a lot already, and it's crazy that we're talking about this. We're talking about how many, we're giving this advice how many years later since the first dispensary you heard about. I heard about my first dispensary in 2004. Mm-hmm. And my mind, just because of how cannabis is looked at and how you could still go to jail for cannabis back in 2004, you could still get a ticket. You could still get a DUI for it. You could still get your, thrown in jail for it, anything back then. And so my mind automatically said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to go to a dispensary because you probably have to go through all these hoops to get a card or even get in there. You know, it's probably barred. There's probably some government officials that work in it, you know. It's some kind of co-op government slash, you know, laboratory thing that, you know, you have to go through this an extensive medical background check to get your card.
Right.
Got to be dying of cancer or something.
Yep.
And that's the first thing my mind went to because of the fact it was so early. But my point is, I didn't go to cannabis. I didn't go to a dispensary way after you. You went in 2008. You said you went 4 years after I heard about the first dispensary. You went 4 years later. As if I went 10 years later.
Yeah, I didn't have.
About 10 years later, almost. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't have any good, like, street hookups, honestly. So when that became available to do it properly, I'm like, oh, I'm going to go do that. And because, you know, the first time I ever went into a dispensary and you see all of a sudden, you go to your dealer, he's got one, maybe two strains. I've never had a dealer that's had more than one. So to go to a dispensary and see 40 strains, you go.
I've never ever been to a dealer that had one strain at one more than one strain at one time.
Right.
You're right.
Sells out, then goes to something new. Yeah. What's the new
And
thing?
it always sucks though too because you're still like if he goes, oh, I got some fire, and it's he like marks it up to $55. The next batch he goes, oh, it's from the same guy, but it's a different strain, but it's still 55 and it's nowhere near as good. So you had to go with whatever they were giving you. Or you found the guy that always had the good stuff all the time, and then would all of a sudden it changes up, and you're like still paying the same price. They never tell you.
Sure.
It was that. That was it. And your dealer would always show up either 2 hours to a day later than what you call them.
Yeah.
Or may never ever show up.
Yeah. So, if you're tired of that in your state, that's a huge benefit to
if you don't want to be sitting there looking for a fix and your drug dealer didn't show up.
Or, just even if, just to avoid that frustration of being like, oh, you kidding me? Still like, sorry, I'll be there in 30. I'll be there in an hour. Just keep pushing back.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, with some modern deliveries right now, that can happen. But you'll see in the reviews, the people will review and say, and it'll reflect in their overall reviews on like something like Weedmaps. You'll see a bunch of 1 stars because like no updates, never showed up, showed up 4 hours late, showed up with the wrong order. Those won't last long. But the good deliveries, you can really count on. I just had a delivery a couple days ago. I mean, within an hour and a half, I had my order. Very easily, discreetly, simply. I didn't have to leave the house. And now with deliveries, they're actually including ways to pay with a card. With your bank account, there's a couple of programs that you can link your bank account, but there's now even ones that'll take your credit card and maybe just add like a 3 or 5% fee, which is that's fantastic because back in the day, I mean, God, up until recreational, it was all cash. That was the only possible way. And now they're finally figuring out how to deal with banks and whatnot. So deliveries are becoming incredibly just convenient. I mean, if you know what you want and you don't need to go talk to a bud tender in person, because here's the thing, you can even call these deliveries and they will talk you through their products. So if you don't need a face-to-face encounter to learn about these things, because, I mean, back in the day, you used to be able to go see and smell the product. You don't get to do that now. So there's not much benefit to going into a shop unless you want to see what the packaging looks like. I mean, deliveries are so advantageous if you know what you're looking for and all that type of stuff. But, it's sometimes fun to go into dispensaries because they're just so nice. Some of them are just so nice and displays are so beautiful.
Yeah. So let's talk dispensary. There's different types of dispensaries, right?
Sure.
As versus styles, right? Mm-hmm. There's ones that are super like, what I want to say, like a Mac store, like an Apple Mac store.
Sure.
You know, there's
Yep.
some that are very like that.
Clean and
Yeah.
minimalist.
And then there's some like you go into a nightclub,
Yep.
you know, and then there's some that just looks like a regular, you know, storefront.
Retail. Yeah.
Retail storefront. Very
Yep.
straightforward, wall full of product, a menu, the displays. Then there's branded dispensaries.
Sure.
Dispensaries that are branded by a brand that came out. One
Cookies.
Is, yeah, cookies. The another one is Jungle Boys.
Jungle Boys. Yep.
Yep.
Nug.
Huh?
Nug.
Nug. There's another one. See, and there's so dispensaries are a great way to introduce yourself to cannabis and different brands. I'm talking to newbies out there, right? Like newbies that are just starting out, you know, even though they have friends that give them, but you want to see stuff yourself. You want to get excited too for these products that you're buying. Sure. So the best way I would say is like what you mentioned before. The only reason to go to the dispensary is if you want to see the packaging, if you want to see what they have to offer, if you want to see that brand, if you want to look at what their branding is, then go to the dispensary because you're going to get a showcase of that. You're going to get the best showcase of that because dispensaries want to get rid of your product right away so they can recoup their money. And the brands want to show off their product so you can buy their product. So it's a great win-win for like a newbie that doesn't really have the right, you know,
Knowledge and
like already have a selection in their head of what they want.
what they know,
you know?
and like, yeah.
So you have those different styles. You got to find out what style fits you. Me personally, I'm a big fan of just a regular retail cannabis store because they're there just to do cannabis. They're not there to be an event themselves. They're not there to be a brand themselves. They're not there to be anything but, hey, we are a cannabis company or a cannabis dispensary and we offer these different ways. Like the one I go to offers a curbside and I can order off of a menu. Now, I've been in the business, or I'm not in the business. I've been a consumer and been going to dispensaries and deliveries for a long time. So I do know what I want. So when I look at their menu, I go to exactly what I want to get the brands I want, and I put my order in. I drive to the dispensary when it's ready and available. They send me a little chime. I get that chime, says, okay, good to go. I go to the dispensary. I can see people lined out the door. I can see no line, anything. I still get my delivery like that, or my curbside like that because I'm different. I'm not parked behind a line of curbside or anything. I'm just pulling up, getting it. And when I do have the chance, or I do have to, because I've gone there so early in the morning, right, and it had coffee all the way there to my to the place. Then I'm in the curbside waiting, and I'm like, oh my God, do I really got to go to the bathroom? Oh God. So I end up getting out and going in to get my order because I have to use their restroom.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And it's happened to me twice now. But what that time is, there's just a normal dispensary. You walk in, there's the desk, there's a waiting room to the side there. Nice, big, spacious waiting room. That's one great thing about dispensaries when they have spacious waiting rooms. And then down the hall is the actual room you go into. You go into there, and it's just a long room with an L-shaped counter, and then the whole wall, and then a couple refrigerators, and it's pretty simple,
Standard.
super standard, nothing big deal because I've been to it all. I've been through all those styles I mentioned earlier, the Apple Store one, the very what was that? Nightclub. I called it nightclub, you know.
Right.
And the other ones I did mention too. I've been to a lot of them and found that just I just going there just to get cannabis. I'm not going there for anything else. No.
There are other things that happen. Like a lot of dispensaries still, they did it a lot in the Prop 215 days, which was just the medical cannabis days, but now they're doing it a lot less. But they do events. It's mainly brand. What do you want to call them? Like where they'll set up
Brand demos.
brand demos,
Is what
right?
it's called.
So
Yep.
if you go to like their website or something like that, they'll have a calendar and it shows, okay, this brand is going to be here on this day with a representative, with maybe samples or something like that. Usually not anymore. That used to be a thing.
Again, great for newbies that don't know products.
Yeah.
Another
Go learn.
reason, that's another reason why dispensaries are very valuable for beginners.
You won't get that at a delivery. So yeah, if you're new, it's very beneficial to go. Here's a really huge thing that I would just absolutely recommend for newbies is go on Weedmaps and look at all the first-time patient specials. Like FTP is sometimes the shorthand they'll use for it. But they're getting, because there's so much selection, at least in our area, that
That's
they're
true.
trying to get you in the door so badly that there's a ton of deliveries and dispensaries that are doing 50% off your first order. So, it really behooves newbies to know, like, to try and find something you like and then save a maxed out order. So if you're recreational, your 8 grams of concentrate and whatever it is for flour, I can't remember because I don't buy flour, and save that for one of those dispensaries or deliveries to get 50% off your order is fucking huge.
Especially with the taxes that are put on it.
Exactly.
50% is probably going to take off all the taxes.
Yeah.
That's the truth. But no,
It makes a big difference though.
that, and also going off what Corey said is make sure when you go to dispensaries to pick up flyers, events. There's a lot of information. There's some that throw events themselves. Maybe they're at the dispensary, or maybe they rent a place and they have some kind of event. But there are benefits other than just finding your preferred brand or discovering a new brand. There is benefits like information, demos, try out new brands. There's that more than just picking up cannabis there and making it just a cannabis thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Delivery, is definitely like more beneficial for when you know what you want and you don't need to go in and get that experience. You just want the convenience. You don't want to leave your house, that type of thing.
Now, those are all the pros of dispensaries, and there's more. There's more pros I can come up with.
Sure.
But to keep this short and sweet, I kind of wanted to go back where you were saying, man, these dispensaries will give you literally 50% off and a gift. They'll give you some kind of gift sometimes.
Sure.
Whether it's, a lanyard with some stickers and a keychain on it. They always hook you up with something because they're so desperate to get you in their door. But that's one thing is my pet peeve is they're so desperate to get you in the door. After they've gotten you in the door, that desperate wipes away to, okay, we got you. You know what I mean? That's how I feel like some dispensaries.
Sure. Some, yeah.
That's like, I love their oomph and go get them, but a big amount of dispensaries don't hold your attention the whole time. They don't hold your customer service like up there. They're like, yeah, we know you're here for, just get your cannabis and leave. Whether we have a smile on our face or not, you're still gonna come back and get some more cannabis.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, that brings up one of my pet peeves about going into dispensaries, a physical brick and mortar shop, is for the most part, most employees are quite nice, but every once in a while you'll get just super unpleasant people. Usually the security guards. I don't know what it is about that position in this industry. I mean, I can understand, the people you're dealing with, but Yeah, that kind of can ruin my experience. And that's like the first person you'll see. And, well, I thought that was a phone. Sounds like there's a bird in here. Can you pick that up, microphone? Anyway.
He's lying. He's took
I'm
mushrooms
hallucinating.
earlier.
Tweet, tweet, tweet.
We're in a huge studio. It is soundproof. You can't hear nothing. There's no birds. There's like 30 people behind the camera, and you can't even hear them because one of them will get fired if they made noise. This guy is obviously shrooming.
I am tripping.
Balls.
Yeah, but then again, on the flip side, from getting a horrible security guard or anybody, you'll get somebody who's just absolutely pleasant and wonderful and makes you want to go back. So it's kind of a weird toss of the coin with how you're going to get.
Can you imagine having your favorite, you go to like your favorite dispensary, you love it all the time, but the one pet peeve is your bipolar fucking security guard there. He's like a sweet and sour patch kid. He's just fucking hella crazy, and then when you like, he's hella psycho and crazy when you get there and you go, even though he knows you, right? You go there every time, and he's just psycho and just mean and like get it. And then when you leave, he's like, "Oh man, what great plant!"
Oh my
he's super
God,
nice.
There's a good skit. The bipolar cannabis security
He's
guard.
just all over. He's like, he's like, what the
ID?
Right.
All right,
Just the
fine. Open. Go. Yeah, he comes out. What'd you get, dude? High five, yeah. That's fucking sweet. Have a great day. Have a great day. See you next time.
I can't wait till you come back.
Yeah, it still does it.
You come back.
Dude, what's up? ID. ID. Now.
ID now.
Dude, you don't remember? All right,
Shut up.
go.
Now. Just
You're holding up the line. There's nobody behind me.
Hey, I wanted to tell you about my cannabis. You're holding up the line. He cuts you off. You're holding up the line. Move it. Keep it going. You're like,
I can
what the
kind of
fuck?
feel like that sometimes. Like, yeah, like it's kind of analogous to every time I go to the airport to pick up my parents because they keep traveling all the time, and you go, you're at the passenger pickup, and you got the fucking dude with the whistle. Let's go, keep it moving. There's a stand-up comedian that talks about that.
That's true, huh?
That's kind of how it feels.
Keep it going. It's like,
dude,
I'm sorry, I didn't time it right. I'm fucking 3 minutes ahead. Look at my mom. She can't fucking walk that good. Move it, mom. You fucking piece of shit. You're making us look like a piece of shit because of your knees. Now you fucking get your ass moving, mom. And then you look at the fucking guy and you're like, I told her for you. And he's like, he still looks at you and he's like, move it. He's mad at you.
You have no idea how realistic that is. That's insane. We won't go into that because this is, that completely off topic. But that's what it can feel like.
That's exactly.
So, if you got like shopping anxiety, like I can get, if you got a line behind you or if you go to the dispensary and you don't know what you're looking for, and you're actually trying to have somebody help you, and it's like at Starbucks, right? Where people are like, oh my God, are you kidding me? There's another stand-up comedian that talks about that. Like if you are not looking at the menu while you're waiting in line, you go up there and then you start looking at the menu, fuck you, somebody should be able to punch you in the back of the head. It's that same feeling at a dispensary. It's like people just want to get their weed and get out. We are being invaded. So it can have that anxious feeling to it, but so there's another benefit to deliveries if you know what you want. But if you want to go look at shit and talk to the bud tender, you got to go to the dispensary. And it matters what you want to buy, because like great thing about Weedmaps is when you like search your area and it lists all the either storefront or deliveries, it'll say, here's the name of the dispensary, and then it lists, okay, it has, at the time, 34 concentrates, 7 different types of flour, 14 edible. It'll break down exactly how many. So if you're looking for, if you know what you want, I want pre-rolls, let me go see. Because like that'll easily make me whittle down my selection. Okay, if I want my raw garden concentrate, which is pretty much all I get, let me see who's got the most concentrates, who's going to have the potential for the most selection, or you can just search by raw garden. But so that's the thing. That's a nice thing about Weedmaps is you can really hone it in.
And they do, that Weedmaps does have brand specific it's
search
brand
brand.
specific into your local area, so they know where that brand is in your local area for you to go to the dispensary you need, even if it's in the neighboring
Right.
city.
Yeah, you can set your
You could,
distance.
yeah, you could set it all up. It's
Right.
it's pretty nice. That is one good
That's
thing.
presuming that the dispensary has put that on their menu.
And back to what you were saying though, where you do have that anxiety where you're backing up a line, or you can't make your decision. It does not make it better when the bud tenders. See, I have not been in a I have not been inside a dispensary in a while and dealt with the straight bud tender.
Yeah.
But the last time I have been in a dispensary and I did, the bud tenders they don't want to be there, and you're wasting their time. That's my last
this is your
experience with the
job.
bud tenders. Like, they're like, dude, why don't you fucking know what you want and get it? Fuck, what are you doing, bro? Do you even fucking know what weed is? And you're like, sorry, I don't.
Yeah, you'll see reviews, a lot of the reviews like that on Weedmaps. We need to take a quick 45-minute commercial break. Thank you for saying. Do not skip that ad.
Do not skip the ad, because we won't be there.
Just because it's a movie length ad.
Yeah. Hit
Just
the
chill.
Chill. Watch the whole thing. You might learn something. You might need something from there. Fuck it. You know what I mean?
And then we'll end this. God.
Damn it.
Welcome back. Thank you so much for sitting through that short movie that allows us to receive the 10 cents in ad revenue. No, just kidding. We're not even big enough to receive ad revenue.
We probably don't get no ad revenue.
No, we definitely don't. We
We're
have to have
talking
like 1,000.
the devil's lettuce.
That's true. That's true. That'll be a topic for another video of how YouTube's anyway. I don't want to make it even worse for us, but so we've kind of established the difference. The differences. The benefits, or why you might choose one over the other. We've mainly been focusing a little heavy on the actual brick and mortar side. So our experience with deliveries, we've had a lot since we've mainly, at least for me, I've mainly switched over to deliveries. I rarely go into dispensaries, and if I do, I utilize either Weedmaps online order. So you kind of, a lot of brick and mortars have express lines. So like he had with a curbside pickup, if they don't have curbside, they'll at least have a way that you skip the line of people who are sitting there trying to decide.
And before we jumped, that was one thing we didn't mention. See, like this, you just mentioned you just stick to deliveries because your newbiness, per se, is over. Before it was all cool and I needed to know this and this, and now it's like you prefer delivery, as I prefer just a regular store that's just plain out going to give me cannabis. That's it,
Well, if the one you normally go to get curbside offered delivery, would you pay an extra $5 to have it delivered?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Right.
Instead of me going there. Yeah. No, you're right. You're 100% right. But
we don't need to go in anymore.
You touched on another topic, long lines. That's another thing about dispensaries that turn down dispensaries. So say it is one of those dispensaries, any style that I mentioned before, if it's any of those type of dispensaries, if you end up liking that dispensary and that's like a popular one, it's going to have a nice line when it's like after work, lunchtime, And if not, maybe it just has a line all the time too. It can be one of those. There are some that are like that. So that's another thing that's great about delivery. No lines. And even how you said there's an express lane, sometimes the express lanes suck.
Sometimes it takes longer than actually waiting in line.
Because
it's bizarre.
the person doesn't even know how to work the express lane, whoever's working or something, or whatever it be. But yeah, you touched on a good point. The long lines.
You touched on that point. That was you.
No. When you said you can skip the lines when you do delivery.
Yeah.
That's what made me remember. That's what made me think about. That was one of the big cons about dispensaries, is the long lines, is the you know, because we did leave off on before we went to the break, we did leave off on the fact that the last time I went to a dispensary, it just felt like the bartenders were like, "What the fuck are you doing here? Hurry the fuck up!" You know, that kind of thing. So lines, you know, sometimes because you know, even though the nowadays bud tenders know their stuff. Nowadays, the majority of them I can't speak for, but there are some that I've talked to that I'm like, oh, look at this
You know
guy.
more than me, yeah.
Wow, yeah, you know way more than me, and you know, and they really took it, you know, the initiative. But still, that same guy, if he has a shitty attitude, it makes the experience suck. You know,
Or if their boss or their organization they're working for is making them push stuff that isn't selling. So that's the problem you can get with bud tenders is, oh, hey, what do you recommend for blah, blah, blah? And even if they are really knowledgeable, they were told, okay, we need to sell what's not selling. So, I've had recommendations that I'm like, oh, you motherfuckers, I'm never asking you ever again.
Why the fuck did you do this to me?
Yeah.
Yeah. And the bit you skip all that bullshit once you know. I mean, it doesn't take like if you're starting, you know, if you say you smoked right here and there and a buddy gives you a joint here and there and then you take it on yourself to say, you know what, I need to go to the dispensary myself so I can just start getting my own and not worried about it. Even if you're that guy or person, I'm sorry if you're that person, it doesn't take you forever to know what you like in cannabis. You know, you could the first, you know, couple months you can know because I you can't say the first month because somebody who's just barely smoking that much probably just smokes an eighth and that leaves. Can you imagine?
Yeah.
Dude,
Good old
I
days.
envy you guys. You guys out there that can like eat like a half a gummy and it destroys your life. You know, I mean. I envy you guys because fuck, I wish I could just eat a half a gummy and be there again.
Yeah, that's a quick tangent on extracts. Is it absolutely murders your tolerance? So yeah, like a joint back in the day before we ever did extracts, that would get you lit. Now it's kind of like an appetizer to the main meal, which is concentrates because it's just so much more potent. But another great thing about deliveries to you avoid the line, So here's another thing, right? Kind of 2 in 1. You're going to deal with at least security, front desk, bud tender, and then security again when you go out. At the minimum for brick and mortar dispensary, with a delivery, it's an interaction with one person, and most of the good ones now have some form of communication, whether it's through some app or whether they're just texting you, but they will give you an ETA or even a tracker on the person doing your delivery. So not only are you not waiting, you know exactly where they are. You know right when they're walking up to your door. You can be literally like, there's no planning. It's just that convenience factor it makes when you have a really good delivery experience and then you go back into a dispensary, a brick and mortar, and you're sitting in a line. It's like a DMV. Like a 15-minute wait feels like 4 hours.
It's that light bulb that you don't want. That switch that goes, fuck, what am I doing here? I'm just gonna do delivery. You know, that's what ends up happening.
Yeah.
And that's the best thing about having a great delivery service. And like to have the tracker on it too.
Love it.
Amazing. To now be able to accept credit cards, like you said earlier, makes it real easy. So like I can always just go back to now the hustle and bustle. You get off work from like 4 to 6 o'clock. People are getting off work. Those hours
They're
fucking
horrible.
suck. Those hours suck getting off work and then having to deal with everybody else. Then you go to a dispensary and it's like line out the door, you know. And then you're like, you pass this dispensary, like, I'm not dealing with that. You go straight home. You go call a delivery service, start your dinner because you don't have to be stuck in a line. Start your dinner, while you're cooking dinner, you see the oh, this guy's gonna be here any minute. Boom. Oh, you know what? I didn't run by the bank. Oh, I could pay with the credit card. Perfect. You know, I mean, that type of situation happens every single day to every single one of us. You know, unless you're just a fucking crackhead, then you're not smoking weed because weed don't do shit for you.
Yeah.
You were talking about concentrates ruining it for us. Crack will ruin it for you.
Yeah, that'll ruin everything.
Crack
All drugs.
This is a PSA. Crack will ruin your life.
If you didn't already know that.
See, that's how we should be monetized because we do those things. Don't do
this
drugs.
is educational. God damn.
Yeah, don't do drugs. Don't do heroin.
Health awareness. Yeah. So, I mean, we could keep ranting about the differences and one more thing I think it's worth covering is, and I'm sure there's going to be more and more companies popping up like this, Flower Company, flowercompany.com.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who came up with their business plan, but it's pretty brilliant. And the way they started, and they've just built up into this monster that's kind of like the Costco of weed.
That's exactly what
where
they
it's almost
said.
like you're getting like you're almost getting it's barely over wholesale. I mean, it's crazy low prices. The only downside, if you will, is either you got to pay for a membership to get free delivery, or you're paying $10 delivery each time. But honestly, if you buy enough product in one go, it pays for the delivery right out, and you're still saving money. So, you know,
and that's crazy. Me and Corey, we discovered the flower company when it first started up, and we got to talk to people who are now high up that started as
Drivers.
delivery drivers.
Yeah.
So they're now high up and running this thing, but when they were their own delivery drivers, they did tell us they were going to try to be the Costco of
I forgot about that.
of cannabis, and I was like, okay,
They're killing it. They went from like maybe 100 products on their menu to now I think they're in like the thousands,
and that's impressive.
and like a massive white label, their own brand through a white label. So Flower Company branding, the cheapest cannabis quality products you'll ever find. Some of it's hit and miss because it's white label and they don't control all that, but some of it is just incredible bang for buck, absolutely incredible. And you know, there's rewards programs with a lot of dispensaries and deliveries that you can utilize that can really help. There's a lot of stuff to consider, but don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to go to both. You know, if you still need guidance after watching all our videos that kind of explain, especially like the getting started video, just, you know, a borderline baseline of what to look for if you have no idea what to try. You know, but like kind of our
What did you start with? What did you start with?
You mean when I first
When
was
you
a
first
fish?
went to dispensary?
Flower.
Okay, but like, what intrigued you? Like, what was like? Oh man, I got
The amount of
try it.
strains. I was just so blown away. Well, I was just blown away by everything. Like, my God. There wasn't a ton of edibles. There was honestly like brownies and chocolate bars, maybe some gummies, but it was just the incredible selection of flower, which I'm like, you know, first learning that there's strains, that was like, wait, what? And they have different effects and they're categorized in two different, okay, I had no idea. Let me figure out what I like, which was so much fun to see. Oh, this strain makes you feel this way. This strain makes you feel this. Wow, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in flavor and taste. But now, even for me, it's overwhelming how much shit there is to choose from.
That's crazy how you say you. So me, it was funny because when I learned about strains, it was from the street, but it was hilarious to hear them.
Oh God,
Because
it still is.
like you actually went into a store and were like, okay, this might be a marketing gimmick they're doing. It's all just weed, or wow, this is cool because it's in a store. I was looking at some guys telling me some fucking made up something. I'm like, okay. And go to my friend, dude, this is cherry pie, man. Why they call it? I fucking don't know. Maybe it tastes like cherry pie. I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
You know, but We had no idea. It was so new for us. I
Yeah.
don't think cherry pie was even a strain.
Probably
It
not
was an
back then.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was like older strains.
Trainwreck, Blue Dream,
Yeah,
Grape Ape, GDP.
I still remember when they would call weed just, oh man, I have some skunk weed. Skunk weed.
Well, I made that whole video on how Britain doesn't, because they were calling, yeah, they had this super potent skunk weed. I'm like, that doesn't mean anything. But then somebody in that video kind of explained what they think they meant, which is skunk is its own variation due to genetics, and that a skunk genetics are higher THC. But I'm like, not by now. No, I mean we have strains that are hitting in the 30s that aren't skunk related. So anyway,
No, that is crazy because, yeah, you know the genetics have mutated or you know evolved.
evolved. Yeah.
You know to, but we don't. You know, if you like now they can find out with remember the tissue culture. They can find out where. Remember Chad was telling us how they can find out where it came from.
Yeah.
What if it was an original of something. So you now you can find out are they all lineage from like skunk, or are they all lineage from Kush, or are they all lineage from now that's amazing how that's able to be found out.
Yeah.
Love science.
Yeah, for you, state like Ohio that just passed. So to give you a time frame, Ohio just passed recreational cannabis, and that's still not even half the states. We're almost at half the states. So for all you that have yet to establish and develop, it's going to be nuts. It's going to be so much more precise dosages, even more vast amount of products. So we will try again, like we've mentioned, to keep up with what's happening in the industry. We'll try to review new products that have come up that we know isn't going to be gross to us, because we know some stuff is not even worth trying, because it's just going to be like the joint. Watch the mini joint review.
Yeah.
He knew right off the bat I would not like it. I thought, well, I'm not, but let me give it a try. And he was right.
I thought it was funny because I did know what you were gonna think of it, but
I thought, oh, maybe it's got extracts. It might be okay.
yeah,
Nope. Still gross as fuck.
But there is some that I think taste too artificial.
Well, that smelled super artificial. I remember that mango.
It did smell super artificial, but the taste, when it's super artificial as well, I'm like, I don't know that.
Like dab face.
It doesn't. Yeah, I like that.
Holy crap. It was so cool at first, but then it was just so overwhelming and fake.
Yep.
And now, yeah, once you, again, a little rant, once you develop connoisseur taste buds, it's a strange industry. Like things that when you tried as a newbie that you thought were amazing, once you start like truly appreciating the original flavors and the pure flavors and unadulterated and nothing added in and that type, like full spectrum, it's probably like liquor connoisseurs who, whiskey that's been aged and they're like, oh yeah, I can taste. Or like I saw that review of somebody reviewing Conor McGregor's whiskey and whatever, what is it called? Proper 12?
Yeah, proper 12.
Which is, I guess, is supposed to be aged 12 years. That's the proper minimum amount to age something. And the guy tastes and he's like, nah, I can taste it's only 3 years. I'm like, damn. But that's where where we're at. That's where we're at. Well, we can taste something and go, like with live resin. That was a weird thing that happened with live resin was people weren't, like they think you're supposed to instantly chop it down and give it no cure time whatsoever. But when you do that, it leaves in this bizarre, fresh flavor that if you don't cure it, it goes across all strains exactly the same. You'll have this underlying fresh, like almost like chopped grass. But once you cure it just a tiny bit, it gets rid of that and then maintains that incredibly fresh terpene, not the plant matter. So I don't remember where I was going with that, but
it's fun information, science.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. It was just a little offshoot there, but if you guys have more questions, we don't want to go ranting on this forever because just go try one of these places out, or They're murder. It's the fucking dog
You don't hear
murdering
nothing
again. Every
again.
time we film,
He is.
they're murdering. Oh yeah, these microphones are good at.
No, but
rejecting.
he's also very high on shrooms. He's
The
hallucinating.
dad. What was it
Again.
earlier? Children, and now it's dogs.
No, it was a it was a bird.
Oh, bird. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. Yeah.
I'm just here for the ride, folks. I'm here for the ride. Science.
Birds, children, dogs. Yeah. If you guys got questions, or if you have input, if you got some opinions on delivery versus dispensary, if you've got some horror stories to share, things to avoid, please share that in the comments. Everybody, including us, would appreciate that. Hope we helped you. Hope you guys learned some stuff, and we'll see you on the next one.
Hope you learned it.